would Martin Luther King think of what we're doing today? I think somebody made reference to it earlier. And how many people have gone forward and where we are now, especially now that we have the first African American holding the highest office that you can possibly hold in the United States. And for those of us that help get him there, our responsibility is to make sure that he does the job while he's there. So let's not do to him what we do to some of us. Let's not sit back and fold our hands and to say, you know, we got us a black man up there, that's all we need to do, we done made it now. No, we have not. Because before I die, I know I won't see a second one. But before they leave here, I hope they do. I hope they do. We have amongst us some very talented people. And sometimes we get tired and we don't want to do all the things that we need to do. We fuss and fight amongst ourselves and we cut each other down and we erode whatever hope we have for advancement right here amongst ourselves. Because we are so busy looking at the minutia of the mess that we are in that we forget the larger picture of what we have to do. The favorite speech for me that Dr. King gave was the last one he gave. The one where he was working with those AFSCME garbage men, trying to get them organized. Garbage men. Organizing men that had to dump maggots out of other folks' trash cans. One of the most degrading jobs that we had. But they wanted to do it well, they wanted to get paid for it, they wanted to do it safely. So between AFSCME, a predominantly white union, decided they would take care of those public sector workers. Now what do we look at today at our public sector workers? Well, the first thing we do is we complain about the taxes, so we don't want to pay them. We starve them out. We complain about the work that they do. And we degrade the work that they do. But there stood the man that we honor today. Hours from his death, and his last work was to organize garbage workers. So who knew when he said that he had been there and he wouldn't get there with you? Everybody, every time I look at that speech, we showed it here. Everybody's screaming and hollering and testifying and shouting. But they didn't understand what the man was talking about. I challenge you now to take that conscience that we should all have and do something with it. Do something positive with it. On the front of this podium, there's a sign with Dr. King on it that says create jobs. Local 113 is one of those unions that has aspired to and continues to bring all people to the workforce. Doesn't matter if they're felons, doesn't matter if they're black, doesn't matter if they're white, doesn't matter what their ethnicity is, doesn't matter if they're male or female. And I tell you, when I think of the work that goes on and the people that do it here, I'm reminded of that thing that we often say in this town, that, you know, I drove by that hole and I didn't see anybody who looked like me. Well, I'm going to challenge you from now on, when you drive by that hole, they might be down under, deep tunneling. You may not see them. But they may be above your heads in cranes where you didn't bother to look. Or maybe you didn't go by at the right time. But this union, this very proud laborers union, is one of those unions that makes sure that black men and women, Latino men and women, go to work every day. Every day. But we are in a sad state of affairs in our national conscience. We are suffering through one of the worst recessions that we've had in a very long time, one that most of us can't quite remember. We have record unemployment, and the unemployment rate in Milwaukee, especially for black men, is at 16.4%, and just 4 times the rate of white females. The jobless rate is even higher. And there are communities not too far from here where black male joblessness is over 50%. And it's something that in this community we deride all the time. But we can't get very far if the only thing we do is talk about it, complain about it, and hate about it. Hating about it is not going to get us anywhere. Because if the person that is getting the job and the person who has to let the job cannot have a collective sense of community and cannot allow each conscience to allow them to stand together, what on earth makes you think that they would ever work together? So we have a lot of work to do as a civil rights community in this community. Our obligation is to speak up. But you can walk up in a bank, sit in a restaurant, go about work every day and never say a mumbling word because you're happy you got the job that you have. It is our responsibility to make sure that we ask the question, so why come nobody else here looks like me? When did y'all decide to stop hiring black people? Now, when I became a labor leader, there were an awful lot of people, and I will say a couple of my black brothers that said to me, now, is there anything that you need me to say for you? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because I can scream what I have to say from the hilltops, but it doesn't make any difference unless some action is done.